You know that Bonnie Tyler song, I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night? He's gotta be strong, he's gotta be fast, something cooler than Kessler, I don't know what it is. But either way, the entire city of Ottawa, everybody who is a fan of the Ottawa Senators, your hero is Matt Murray. And I'm not even going to go out there and try to say that there's any possibility that anybody else can be that hero, because Matt Murray is that guy 1,000,000% from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of the Marianas Trench to the depths of heaven. Matt Murray is the hero the Ottawa Senators needed right now. Because boy oh boy, did the Senators have themselves a draft yesterday and 2 days ago at the 2022 NHL Entry Draft. Now this video is not going to go over any of the picks they made. No. We can have videos about the prospects and everything later. But for now, I wanted to make this video as somewhat of a benchmark for what exactly it was Matt Murray did and why it was so amazing. Now, the big thing that defined the Ottawa Senators before the draft even began was the fact that they ended up trading their 7th overall pick to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for forward Alex DeBrincat. Now, that wasn't the only pick that was swapped around. There were a few more picks thrown in there. Ottawa's 2nd-round pick in the draft, as well as their 2024 3rd-round pick, so a pick that's not going to be used for 2 years. But essentially, it was a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd for Alex DeBrincat, a guy who, if you check out the video we made about the trade when it was done, I said he's a pretty good player. He's a goal scorer. He is one of the best young goal scorers in the entire NHL. He's got 40 goal potential on lock, potentially even more than that if he gets more opportunity, and he grows his game, etc., etc. You know the drill for younger players that are below the age of 26. But when it comes to this trade that was so overly revered by everybody in the NHL's fan bases, except for Chicago fans, because they kind of got the short end of the stick now, didn't they? The only reason this trade was made was because of Matt Murray. This was because Pierre Dorion almost made up what was probably going to be a big mistake in what a lot of Senators fans are memeing about, the summer of Dorion. This pick, of course, the 7th overall pick, was the mainstay piece that actually allowed the DeBrincat trade to go down. The Blackhawks ended up selecting Kevin Korchinski with that 7th overall pick, a player that I honestly did not think should have gone that high, but I mean, if the Blackhawks really like the guy, then go ahead, take whoever it is the heck you want. But if you told me that at the end of the day, Alex DeBrincat would have been traded for Kevin Korchinski, a 2nd-round pick, which eventually became Paul Ludwinski, as well as a 3rd, I kind of would have laughed in your face, man. I'm sorry, but that's just how it goes. This 7th overall pick, though, was initially the Ottawa Senators, and it was actually swapped around in an earlier deal a few hours before the DeBrincat trade was made, with that first trade involving Matt Murray. Let's let the tweets do all the talking here, as Elliot Friedman gets everything started out at 8:44 a.m. on day 1 of the draft. I'm hearing the Ottawa Senators and Buffalo Sabres were deep into conversations about a Matt Murray trade. The Sabres are on his no-trade list, and Murray, as is his contractual right, stuck to his list. Now, Matt Murray, if you take a look at his overall profile, why the heck would the Ottawa Senators want to be trading away Matt Murray? Well, it's because he's a pretty expensive guy that isn't really worth the caliber of goaltending that he provides to the Ottawa Senators. Matt Murray is making $6.25 million a season till the end of 2024. He is 28 years old, so he's definitely not old, but he did have a season in 21-22 that was in the .906 save percentage range. Now, it was a step up from what he did in 2021. All things considered, he had an .893 save percentage in 27 games played that season. But of course, you can see from the numbers right here, this really isn't a guy that is worth that price tag of $6 million. Pretty much, you're paying him because of the body of work that he has had in the past and the level of success he has achieved at the NHL level in hopes of him potentially achieving something like that again. Matt Murray, though, nixed a trade to the Buffalo Sabres, and as we read on to more tweets that go over the picks and the trade itself, you kind of start to see why Matt Murray was the ultimate savior here for the summer of Dorion. This is what Pierre LeBrun said. The Sabres were trying to weaponize their cap space. The proposed deal would have netted them another asset on top of Murray. Anyway, it's no longer a deal. What does weaponizing your cap space mean? It means you have a lot of cap space if you're a team that is kind of low there in terms of your cap hit spending, and you want to use the extra cap you have to entice teams to give you their expensive players while also paying a premium for you to get those players. The Arizona Coyotes did that magnificently in the previous few seasons when they said, hey, Vancouver, Louis Eriksson, Jay Beagle, Antoine Roussel, you don't like these guys? Here, give them to us. We can pay them and you won't have them on your cap, but if you want to give us that responsibility, you also have to give us a first-round pick, which eventually became Dylan Guenther. They did the same thing with Shane Goss to spare and Andrew Ladd. It was kind of a fun little carousel that the Arizona Coyotes did in that respect, but the Sabres were trying to do the same thing. Kevin Adams said this about the entire ordeal: we worked hard on a deal, but players have the ability in their contract to make those decisions, and we want players that want to be here. That's the way we believe. We move on. So, all in all, it doesn't really feel like they're all too upset that they missed out on Murray, but at the end of the day, if you take a look at what the trade actually would have been, it makes things very much more complicated. This is what Darren Dreger said, the actual details. I waited 5 minutes to go out there and tell you what these details actually were. The deal between Ottawa and Buffalo would have included the Sens retaining salary on Murray and Buffalo flipping the 16th overall pick for the 7th pick. Now, you can see the replies to this tweet. Oh my goodness, what the F is Dorian thinking? Gosh darn it. Oh my goodness, Matt Murray. If he actually waived his no trade, the Buffalo Sabres would have gotten the 7th overall pick, and Ottawa would have moved down, and also they still would have retained salary. What a crazy bad deal that would have been for the Ottawa Senators. Pierre Dorian, you're a goof. You're a clown, buddy. The summer of Dorian, what the hell are you talking about? This dude almost went out there and absolutely tanked the franchise's top 10 pick because, look, 7th overall, 16th overall, you might think, oh, it's only a difference of 9 spots, but the difference in those 9 spots could have been seen as absolutely not worth it when you consider the fact that you still would have been retaining money on Murray. 4 hours after that deal was nixed, you have Pierre Dorian, who made the Alex DeBrincat trade. And so the Sens did not actually use their 7th overall pick. As we said, it went to Kevin Korchinski and Chicago. But this trade right here, the first, the second, as well as the third in 2024, is seen as an absolute huge steal of a win for the Ottawa Senators. So in a way, Matt Murray declining to waive his contract, or his, not his contract, but like his no trade clause, catalyzed this Alex DeBrincat trade. And ultimately catalyzed what was a finger pointing at the Chicago Blackhawks that apparently has no end because everybody has just been laughing at Chicago for the picks they made and the decisions they've been doing as well. The Alex Romanov trade with the New York Islanders and Kirby Dach, Montreal all getting in there, plus the fact that you traded away DeBrincat for what was essentially just a first, a second, and a third after the revealed asking price that we saw was something in the realm of a first-round pick that was a high one, which admittedly the 7th overall pick was. And then you have a roster player and another younger prospect, second or third round picks. That's not really on that same equivalent scale of magnitude, I feel, as to the original asking price for DeBrincat. So, Ottawa, good on you guys for going out there and taking advantage of the situation here. Good on you for getting yourselves a 40-goal scorer to play alongside of Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk and Josh Norris. You could have 2 legitimate 35-goal guys on your team next year, maybe even 3 if you get lucky. And all it took was Matt Murray not waiving his no trade to get that done. This guy's your hero. 4 hours ago, before the DeBrincat trade was made, he would have been a Sabre had he just decided to waive. But he said no. Now, Kevin Adams is like, yeah, it's fine that he said no, because if he doesn't want to be here, then we're not going to take him. But, like, still, the fact that the trade was even on the table, that in itself is a crazy big deal. So talk to me in the comments on your thoughts about Matt Murray being the hero for the Ottawa Senators on day 1 of the NHL Entry Draft. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.